yeah, without further ado, Crip Jesus and the American Healer, Inky. Please and love, brothers. How are you?
Peace.
Doing great,
I
doing
can't
great.
complain.
Glad to be in
I'm
the
just so
building.
happy to be here for this one, man. The last queen of America. How
That's
many
right.
people even knew America had a queen?
Come
That
on,
part.
somebody. Crip Jesus, could you start us off by telling us who you are and where we can find you at, please?
Well, yeah, when I first used to say my name is Crip Jesus, I used to give my what I would like to call the 5%er explanation. I talk about, I'm the prophet from the streets. I came from the clan of the Crips, or just like Father Allah, I'm teaching the gangbangers just like he did in the 60s when he left the temple. But as you grow, you evolve. And just the same way I evolved to get to this information that we about to break down today, which we all evolved to, it was kind of like sprinkled in the cut from all of us. The same way I evolved with my name. So Crip, come to find out, the founder of Crip, Raymond Washington, his last name is not Washington because his ancestors were enslaved by President George Washington. No, 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 no. Come to find out, he's a descendant of a tribe of a nation, the Ouachita Nation, which is what we're going to get into today. And George Washington actually joined our nation. Now, for the last name Jesus, I was going to change my last name, especially when I was doing the whole 5% NOI. Then when I got the Moorish science tip, it was kind of like adjust your name. But then when I finally went and sat down with my grandfather, who's a 33rd degree Freemason Shriner, and peace and blessings upon his spirit. He passed away this year. And I seen the Masons actually come to the funeral, and I learned from him. He told me I was Gullah Geechee. When I drew it back and found out the root of the Gull, because he told me we're Gullah Geechee, but our name's from France and our ancestors from France. And I found out about Gull and Gullick. I found out that the woman who they claim their ancestry from, Princess Mary Aten, is from the same tribe as Jesus, according to the Quran. So the name has took on
Wow,
a whole nother meaning with this Gullah Geechee thing, baby.
wow.
Also, Dot Inky, can you tell the family who you are, where we can find you at?
Peace to the family out there. My name is Dr. Inky, the American Healer. I guess I got that epithet when I released the article last year, maybe that really kind of stamped it. And then, I guess, and the article is on electromagnetic tissue, right? Because science currently only identifies two types of tissue. You have tissue that consumes energy and tissue that um, is dependent on ATP for energy. But there is a third type of tissue that I discovered called electromagnetic tissue that produces its own energy. And, the community out there, they saw past me healing the people, and they didn't comment so much about that. The larger conversation was, wait a minute, Inky is with those white folks. So it became the American healer, because and I haven't combated it, because in actuality that's what God put on me. I'm here to heal everybody, and not necessarily a specific group. So, but you can find me on Crumbtv. That is the place to be.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, so gentlemen, I say we get into it. The last queen of America. We got a good little PowerPoint here. Um, it starts off like this. Well,
Mm.
actually, should I read or would you want to do, Crip Jesus?
Well, could you go back to the cover real quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I want to break down because a lot of people probably saw this and say, "Oh, it looks nice," but that's a big message right there. When you look at the back of the dollar bill, from my understanding, you have a pyramid on one side, and then you have a bird on the other side that has like 13 this, 13 that, 13 stripes. From my understanding, that was a agreement between the Moorish rulers, who are represented by that pyramid on the left side, and the 13 colonies that made the Moroccan deal, right? Now, with that being said, who the big thing here is was there even a queen of America? So I call this the big secret, because even when you join a lot of the conscious groups and you study, it's long before you ever hear, if you ever do hear, about any of these queens that are right here in our backyard. I mean, around the corner. I mean, they're related to some of these prophets that we idolize, literally.
Wow.
So my bad. The point is that eye right there is Moorish, and that right there is what a lot of people like to call Queen Califia. That's what the name state of California is named after her.
Okay. Okay, so let's get right into it then. Looks like that's what we're gonna do. Let's do it. I'm gonna pull it up on my side as well.
So this is it's not the whole chapter, but it's the beginning of a chapter from the Circle 7 Holy Quran. The reason this is up here is because when you're dealing with Califia, like from the word Khalifa, or you're dealing with that pyramid right there, this all sounds like Moorish science. So what I want to do today is break down to all of those is Moorish science and more of this and more of that. You know what I mean? We're going to break down the matriarchy, the feminine side, but we're also going to break down the difference between the people from here and the people from Africa, because there's a lot of people that claim Moorish science and Moors and don't recognize Africa for some weird reason. So this is from y'all book right here.
All right, Moors. Egypt, the capital empire of the Dominion of Africa.
Africa. So whatever man rulers was ruling over there, there were women ruling over here. That's where we're beginning at.
Right. The inhabitants of Africa are the descendants of the ancient Canaanites from the land of Canaan. Old man Cush and his family are the first inhabitants of Africa who came from the land of Canaan. His father Ham.
Africa. We just heard Africa what 3 times? I'm saying. I meet some more just like, don't say Africa. I'm saying we heard Africa 3 times already. So when I get to breaking down this science, don't tell me that's not Moorish science. We're not talking about Moorish science. Moorish science is not limited to Prophet Noble Drew Ali.
Okay, so
it's actually it has a lot of female in it. We're gonna get to that.
This text that we're reading is Moorish literature.
Yes, this is from the Circle 7 Quran.
Yes, sir. All right. So his father Ham and his family were second. Then came the word Ethiopia, which means the demarcation line of the dominion of Amexem, the first true and divine name of Africa. The dividing of the land between the father.
Hold on, I want to stop right there. He said the first. So all the people that get all excited say, this is the real name. This is the only. He didn't say, he said the first. Things translate, things change, things. He keeps referring to that land as Africa. So for those who say the prophet never said that, we just read Africa about 4 times. But here you go.
Right. Yeah, so this is all according to Noble Drew Ali. So according to Noble Drew Ali, his father Ham and his family were second. Then came the word Ethiopia, which means the demarcation line of the dominion of Amexem, which is the first true and divine name of Africa. The dividing of the land between the father and the son. The dominion of Cush, northeast, and southeast Africa.
Again.
And northwest and southwest was his father's dominion of Africa. In later years, many of their brethren from Asia and the Holy Lands joined them. The Moabites from the land of Moab, who received permission from the pharaohs of Egypt to settle and inhabit northwest Africa, they were the founders and are the true possessors of the present Moroccan Empire. With their Canaanite, Hittite, and Amorite brethren who sojourned from the land of Canaan, seeking new homes.
So even if you switch the map around, like a lot of Moors do and say, well, he's talking about Canada when he says Canaan, he's talking about this. That's cool. It still said Africa, 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 Africa.
Yeah.
Right.
And to take it a step,
he talking about Africa.
And we could take it a step further, because when you study the lessons, the question is asked for clarity. So this can take it a step further because the lessons are designed in a way where you have the Holy Moorish Quran or the Circle Seven, but then you have question and answer for clarity, which is where the degrees is based out of. And the question before you even get into the study of chapter 1 is question number 6. Is Noble Drew Ali the author of the lessons contained in the Moorish Holy Quran? And the answer is the Moorish Holy Quran is a compilation of secret lessons from the Muslims of India, Egypt, and Palestine, and Noble Drew Ali. So for clarity, he gives you the specific region so that there could be no confusion later on.
And for those who don't understand that we weren't a set people, we were a maritime people. We traveled around. We had many. It's just like a person that was born here and goes over there like a military kid. You feel what I'm saying? We were the ranked up officials, and on top of that, the point is, because I don't want anybody to get confused, because we're 15 minutes in as far as this queen, we're dividing it right now. We're showing you the culture and the traditions that we don't over here. That's not what they're talking about. I know y'all like to idolize these people and look up to them, but we're about to give y'all some raw truth. You're missing the feminine aspect and the divine feminine because you're not looking anymore.
Absolutely.
So for what we got right there, we're gonna hold that for the rest of this thing right there, because they're talking about Africa and Canaan and the Moabites.
Okay. Number 9. According to all true and divine records of the human race, there is no Negro, black, or colored race attached to the human family because all the inhabitants of Africa were and are of the human race, descendants of ancient Canaanite nation from the holy, because all of the inhabitants of Africa were and are of the human race, descendants of the ancient Canaanite nation from the holy land of Canaan. 10. What your ancient forefathers were, you are today without doubt or contradiction.
That's right. Even if somebody put a red fez hat on and swear up and down that you ain't African.
Number
Let's
11.
get to the truth, man.
There is no one who was able to change man from the descent nature of his forefathers, unless his power extends beyond the great universal creator, Allah himself. That's almost even like grand architect of the universe, or great architect of the universe. But anyway, yeah, absolutely. Shall we continue?
Oh, yeah, of course. So now the name of the video is The Last Queen of America, not The Last Queen of Africa. So I want all my sisters to pay attention here. When I was going to change my name, this is where the last name Jesus. My grandfather gave me 2 words that changed everything. 2 words I had never heard in my life. I was 30-some years old. I got a dad, y'all. I'm not one of these ghetto hood dudes that don't know nobody. I got a big family. I got like uncles and all that. And none of them understood Gullah Geechee. You understand what I'm saying? So that's what I had to learn. He told me our name was from France. He told me the dude looked white. And he told me about the Gaul and the Gallic. And I learned that the Gullah people. And let's stop this Moor thing. Can we stop? Can we? Oh, let me get the camera real close. Moors. They came in 711 with Tariq Ibn Zayed. That's not who I'm talking about, y'all. Look in the camera, y'all. Y'all looking at the real one, the prince. The Gauls I'm talking about, they were long before some 711 AD. They were 2,000 years before Jesus. My ancestors were in Europe running things. Big giants. The same giants that Julius Caesar had to come fight later on. We're the Moors before the Moors. So let's get that straight with what I'm talking about. Because a lot of people think I'm talking about some Tariq Ibn Zayed, Moorish, later on stuff. Now I'm not. When we left Egypt, Princess Mary Etten and my grandfather, and they landed over here, the point is, the same tribe they claim to be from, Imran, Beni Imran, in the city of Tel El Armana, is the same tribe that the Quran says that Jesus is from. This is where I get the last name Jesus. Now the point is, why I'm scattered everywhere is, I didn't learn none of that from 5% NOI or any of those things. It wasn't until my grandfather, when I was going to go to court and listen to all these people y'all idolize and change my name, was it my grandfather said, "You're Gullah Geechee, and let me give you the rest of the script," that I found out I have a queen living right now. Crumb, I got a queen living right now. I ain't talking about a girl walk up the street with a big booty. There's a queen of my nation alive right now. They told me I didn't have a nation. According to these Black Power people, I have nothing. See how we manipulate ourselves? Or is it a big push against the feminine? Because some reason over here in America, the leaders of these tribes are women, and they really against that. So that's Queen Quet right now, the current leader of the Gullah Geechee Nation. We were just recognized in 1999. But I want y'all to recognize something. Gullah Geechee is a put-together nation. We're a mixture of, African slaves, Moors, the indigenous people over here. But the word you look up in Google Encyclopedia to describe our culture is Guale, Guale. And according to the computer, it's a Mississippian culture. So even Gullah Geechee draws back to the Mississippi River. The Mississippi River and those that controlled it were the controllers of this region of the world that we call North America now. That was the northwest region of the Moroccan Empire, or northwest of Mexum, as a lot of the Moors like to call it, of the Moorish Science Temple. So we just broke down the difference between the Moors and the Moors. The Moors came in 711 with Tariq Ibn Ziyad. The Moors are the ones who've been here when it was one island, Mu. But also you have
I think we're getting ahead of ourselves just a little bit.
But I'm just saying, let me just explain what I'm saying. I'm saying there's three groups here. There's the ancient, there's the ones that came with what I'm talking about, there's the Moors later. So the point is, the Gullah Geechee is not part of that. And we need to understand, we can say more, we can say America belongs to us, we can say all these different things, but what is it that we're actually talking about? Now let's go.
Yeah, I want to add some value on the Gaul part, because I think that might be, and I'm sure that the family at home, we got a lot of researchers, but here you have in 2005. So, and there's a lot of people that like archaeology. I'm not necessarily one of the people that yells out archaeology, but in 2005, 4 multiple burials were discovered near Eylau, Germany. The 4,600-year-old graves contain groups of Black adults and children buried facing each other. Skeletal and artifactual evidence and the simultaneous interment of the individuals suggest the supposed families fell victim to a violent event. Genetic analysis of 4 bodies found in a 4,600-year-old grave shows that they belong to a mother, a father, and their 2 sons, who were buried together in one another's arms. The Neolithic remains, which belong to a man aged 40 and 60, a woman between 35 and 50, the boys between 4 and 5 and 8 and 9, provide the earliest firm evidence for the existence of nuclear family units. They may also bear witness to an ancient massacre. They were interred along with 9 others in 4 graves, and many of the bodies show signs of a violent end. One female had a stone projectile head embedded in a vertebrae, another had a fractured skull, and others had cut marks on their hands and forearms consistent with self-defense. Most of the dead were children or women, and only one of the bodies belonged to a man in his prime. It is likely that these people were murdered in a raid by a rival tribe before the survivors returned to bury their dead. A second grave may also hold a less conventional family unit. It contains the bodies of an infant girl, 2 brothers aged 4, 5, 7, and 9, and a woman aged 30, 38. DNA tests show the other two boys were probably brothers, and although the woman could not have been their mother, she is thought to have been a paternal aunt or stepmother. The baby's body had been too badly preserved for a family relationship to be established. Wolfgang Hock at the University of Adelaide, who led the research, said that in each grave, the bodies were arranged in positions that appeared to have been symbolic of their relationships. In the case of the nuclear family, the man and woman were placed face to face, arms and hands linked, and the two boys were also facing one another. This is unusual for graves from this period, known as the corded ware culture, after its typical pots decorated with twisted cords. So what this is showing is potentially the original people of these lands, as the land started to change hands by force, by violence. You had
about Europe, right?
Yes, this is Gaul. This is Gaul, champ. This is Gaul right here, where they found these black folks. So so today's
for the viewers.
Right. Yes. So so what you have is the raiding tribes coming down from the north, colder regions, and they were warring for these middle regions. Europe is kind of like a middle region in between the northern temperatures, the warm areas, and the Arctic freezing, northern. So that's always been like a prime spot to kind of kick it and chill. They go to Saint-Tropez and all that now still. You know what I'm saying? So yeah,
but not look. Exactly. And for the viewers who may think they may be I'm gonna show you what I mean. After Gullah Geechee, it led me to Queen Quet. After connecting that to Gaul, like my grandfather told me to do, that led me to Princess Merit Aten. See how the female bloodline? That's what led back to Egypt, where they were the natives of the Nile were called Oromo, or by the other people, Gala. So with the Gala, I had to learn that. Check this out, y'all. Y'all ready for this one? Still the mother bloodline. Cleopatra, the last royal bloodline in Egypt. Her daughter, forget talking about her son all day, Little Caesar. Her daughter was left alive and was sent to be the queen of West Africa. Her name is Cleopatra Selene, I believe. And the people she ruled over, Mauritania, the land of the Moors, were considered to be descendants of Goliath. If you take the "uf" off the end, the "uf" used to describe, what do you have there in Goliath's name? Gala. The giant Gullah guy, giant Gullah. Yeah. So all the Gullah nations I found, you have to go through the woman to figure out the bloodline. So for anybody think we're confused, no. We're hopping around to show you Africa, Europe, and all that, and how the female bloodline of this specific group of people, these Canaanites.
Yeah, I did the video Jesus Was Real, and I talked about that queen. I should have thought of, we should have put her in here, but she's not in America. But nonetheless, the question is, who were Noble Drew Ali's parents? Answer, Drew Quitman, military and political leader of the Cherokee or Kohari Nation.
Yeah, that's a like one of the Cherokee groups. You know what I mean? They had like a lot of them.
The Cherokee Nation, and Eliza Turner Quitman, full-blooded Ouachita Tunica mother. So this.
Now I know when I first went to the temple, I seen more emphasis put on him being Cherokee. You feel what I'm saying? And I didn't hear too much emphasis, and regardless of whether it's the temple or not, just in my life, just in black studies, black conscious studies, I never heard of this Tunica Ouachita tribe that's right up the street. That's right there. You know what I mean? I didn't know that there were women that were last name Turner that were from the Tunica tribe all around us. I didn't know the last people. So this is something that a lot of these scholars and conscious dudes come across and don't show us. I don't know if it doesn't serve their agenda, if it's better for them to keep us kind of in the dark about certain things. But one thing I've noticed is this tribe and these women, I mean, I'm one person. Y'all have studied. They don't get mentioned like that.
Well, there's definitely in the conscious community, in the movement of the conscious community, is definitely a group of people that practice anal sex initiation, a group of men, and they call it chakra activation. And a part of that community is definitely, you know, putting the women in a quote unquote mental bondage type of situation. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's crazy. Anyway, I got Miss Celine on up. If y'all want me to hit the share real
Okay,
quick
but
so we
before you
can
show
take a
her, so the
peek.
point here is, even Noble Drew Ali, to all you moles and nobles and everybody that put their fez hat on, even him is just a random dude unless you link it to his mother. It's just without his mother, he's a man born in North Carolina. He's Drew. He gets initiated. All that's cool, but the actual land, the actual estate, the actual thing you're studying, trying to find out about, is the bloodline that comes from his mother.
Yeah, I put up a post. Moors and Aboriginals don't want you to know that Noble Drew Ali was a Native American. But no, Inky, what were you saying, good teacher?
Well, what I'm saying is this. That's why I mentioned the Cherokee thing. When I first found out about any type of native heritage of his, it was about the Cherokee. I didn't see him go too deep into the Ouachita and the Tunica and all that. But this is for all you other Moors that say, I don't care about that, or Mauritania, or Moorish, this and that. Did y'all know that the original, when they was calling it Mauritania way back then, it was Cleopatra's daughter that was heading over it, even then. And they were considered to be descendants of Goliath, meaning the Philistines and the Carthaginians. Oh yeah, we got it for y'all. Y'all go look all these names up, y'all. We don't want to hear y'all complaining no more. Look all these names up. Look these women up too. I said her name was Queen Quet. I said Cleopatra Celine. We know y'all like Cleopatra, the one in the movie. But go on, do some study, y'all. Get busy.
Man, well, see, listen. Let me say this, because I think that's going to open up another interesting doorway. Because again, going back to the group of Moors that focus in heavy on America, that might be trouble for you right there. If one of the earliest queens of the Moorish kingdom is Egypt, is Egyptian. You know, that's gonna be rough right there. That's gonna be a tough one to swallow right there. That might be that's probably why that right there has definitely been they definitely put that up under the rug. Yeah, that's under the rug. That's under the rug.
The Return of the Ancient Ones is a book by Empress Vertices Tierra.
So
Ouachita
this is the big
Turner.
smoking gun, y'all. So, like I said, Queen Quet is the queen of the Gullah Geechee Nation, recognized 99. And from my understanding of our history, we go back, we're a coastal nation. We're a Creole type thing. So in the inland, who were the Guale, the Mississippian culture that ran the thing? More kind of like how they would be in the position that the federal government is in today. This is why a lot of the $5 Indians don't recognize them. What Moors were those? What are you talking about? Well, this was way back when your great grandfather paid taxes or was a nomad next to this person's house. This doesn't have nothing to do with directly your culture, like it's going to be written into your history that this dude was the governor and you paid tax to him. But this is the position we played. If I'm wrong, forget just listening to me. If I'm wrong, go look up United States of America's history, not the England and Britain's history over here, starting in 1620, 1776. Not only were they first recognized by Morocco, they had to sign treaties and all that with Morocco. Then they went to war with them for not honoring those treaties. So the point is, they had the Moroccan people had like a federal position over these lands. You get what I'm saying? The same way we answer to DC now, right? So the point is that at that time, the people who led over here, that other side of it that we're talking about, that's so mysterious, whatever, this Ouachita nation that you never heard of, they were led by Empress the whole time. Let me repeat that again for y'all. The whole 400 years they said we was in slavery, there was an empress here. A Moorish empress. See, you gotta learn the difference between the west of the Mississippi and the east of the Mississippi. Just like you gotta learn the difference between the west of the Atlantic and the east of the Atlantic. So this was the queen, you feel me, of the west of the Mississippi. But she discovered later on though.
Okay, absolutely.
Hey, let me just say this. Is anybody here just humor me for a second? Because I might be off, but because I didn't make the claim that Cleopatra or her daughter were 100% quote unquote black. I don't think that was the statement. I said Egyptian. But are we making that claim just to clarify for the people that are probably trolling in the chat?
Well, I said, and I've always said. Well, actually, I did a video called "Jesus Was Real," and I said how Jesus was Little Caesar or Little Caesarion or something like that, and his sister Selena was a daughter of Cleopatra. Now, Cleopatra was the last of the bloodline of the Ptolemies, and I know the P is silent, but I still call it the Ptolemies. But yeah, she's the last of that bloodline, and in terms of her fatherdom, I guess since we talking about princesses, but this is not in America, my apologies. But her father was Macedonian. That bloodline was Macedonian after Alexander the Greek, Alexander the Freak. You know, it was a bunch of Macedonians. They came in, and she was the last of that bloodline. She was the last Macedonian to sit on the Egyptian throne. You know, that's why she's even special, because there's like 100 of them before her. But you know, her father's. I'm sorry, she's the last one, and the first one. You know, those are the most famous, Ptolemies.
I think we got to. Well, I think the conversation of nationality has to be included too. I think this is where we mess up at. At that point in time, and still today, the color wouldn't matter. You get what I'm saying? It's about, you know, who she's related to. She could look dead white and just have the right bloodline.
At least not right. At least not for this conversation, because that's what I'm saying. We're talking about nationality, which is kind of separate issue from.
No. Hear me out. What I'm saying is, from my understanding, when you look at the name of the Coptics, right? I don't know who walked with Jesus, who wore sandals. I'm saying the first large organization of people who promoted Jesus' teachings and was getting killed by the Romans. They called themselves Rim Im Kemet, as in the people of Kemet, the original. They were pushing nationality. They were saying we're the natives. You feel me? So the thing about Cleopatra is, I can't sit here and tell you if she was light skinned, dark skinned. I got light skinned cousins, and I know she had royal. See, this is what people understand. Everything is real. So royalty represents when you got these different bloodlines to get all these different lands. You might go to war or whatever, but you still had to have blood within you. It's not like now, I killed the most people, I get the land, right? So at that time, most rulers had a very racially ambiguous look. That was what was desired of them, because that meant that you probably had Asia in you, North in you, South in you. So this ethnocentric black power thing, we got to break out of that, because most of our lands are under deeds with light-skinned people that were mixed up with control of several lands. The reason why we can't get this French thing right with the Gaul and the French is because we don't believe anybody light-skinned related to us. We erased the whole Creole history. You feel what I'm saying? With the whole black is dark as a marker hopping out of the bush. So Cleopatra represents the end of autonomy for Egypt. That's what everyone needs to get through their head. Forget black or white. If you were black or white and you were there, you would no longer be free of the Roman full-fledged dictatorship now that Cleopatra's gone. Trump is white, but we was doing better when he was in there. So sometimes it ain't always the color.
Well,
all
the
facts
whole
that
Empress Vertice thing, we have a little clip of her, I believe.
Oh, my bad. And y'all, that's her book, y'all. It costs a lot because it's a real thing. If y'all want to check, Return of the Ancient Ones. It got court cases, journals. You can Google all you want to, but you really want to know the truth? Return to the Ancient Ones. Change your life.
So naturally they wanted to deal with them. They wasn't nomads. They had no money. So they made treaties with the nomads and killed your forefathers. Do you think anyone could make a treaty, join a turtle? My people didn't draw no Ninja Turtle. My people didn't sign no deeds with the United States of America. My people haven't sold them anything and haven't made any treaty yet. My first treaty will be to pay my people what you owe them, $35 per acre from 1803 up to when I first filed with the Department of Interior, which will be $80 quadrillion.
She said 80 quadrillion.
That's right. $45 an acre. Now, this is very important before we rush to this. $45 an acre. So I want to propose this to people, what we're talking about, because we kind of fast forwarded. Who even knew we owned land over here? What is she even talking about? So the point I'm making is there's a lot that's missed by us being so sexist. We're not looking at Noble Drew Ali's mother, and we're not looking at, what is this, his cousin, her niece or something? This is like how do you tell me, for all the Moors out there, how was his cousin living around the corner all these years and you didn't see her? Everybody should went and took a picture with her. so you feel me? And this is in court. This is not a religious thing. This is not a temple. This is not a picture. I'm gonna show you 3 pheasants and say, guess which one is which color. This is real. This is in court.
Yeah, it says honor court decisions of heirs of Henry Turner or Tunica versus United States, 1848, cause number 32, and land awarded to Vertice Tierra Ouachita Turner Goston L. Bay by the state of Louisiana, 1993.
In 1993, how many of y'all lessons say this? In 1993, the United States of America awarded land to this woman. But why? I don't know too many black. I sit on the phone and hear dudes talk for hours. I haven't seen too many dudes look this court case up. Ain't this the smoking gun? Is it because it's a woman?
So we just heard her say that we get $45 per acre, you know, and it adds up to, like, what did she say, 80 quadrillion or something?
80 quadrillion, because we don't know that we didn't just go. We think Louisiana's that little state. The same way they took the little piece of, they named Morocco.
Right.
You know, that whole plan was the empire. So Louisiana was originally from Canada down to Haiti. It was New France, basically. Louisiana just means the land of the Louis Kings.
Right.
You feel me? So it went from Canada all the way down to Haiti. So that's why it costs so much, y'all. They really do owe us 80 quadrillion.
Bro, that's a scary number. That's a big bag.
Woo! That's why in my song I said, hold up. I said, them devils, I said in my song, I said, I've been patiently waiting for all my killers that stuck on plantations. You call that shit prison, we call that shit slavery. You cannot confuse me, these devils can't break me down. Hold up. We do not want reparations. Tell them devils keep their pieces of paper. We want back the land, we want back the culture, we want them to get the fuck out of our faces. Right. They can't afford that bad. They don't got 80 quadrillion.
Right. So the woman
so
that
stop
just
giving
said
our
that,
land away. Because there's plenty of open land. To everybody on here, Crip Jesus is gonna tell you the last prophet. I drove through the whole country about 3 times. It's a lot of land here. A lot of empty land.
But yeah, within this case, the woman who was speaking, who said they owe us that amount of money, she's the one that won that court case. And, you know, Crip Jesus makes a valid point that why aren't people talking about it is really the question. So moving on, it says the Ouachita Nation was headed by Verdice Hampton Goston, also known as Verdice Turner, and as Empress Verdiachi Tierra Ouachita Turner Goston L. Bay from 1927 and 2014. She was mayor of
Now pause right there. Can you please pause? Because when you look her up, I know you know because Crumb, you be studying like a motherfucker like me. When you look her up, what's the first thing you find? Crackpot shit? Lie, conspiracy theorists, like they try to paint her as this crazy person.
Right.
Like some high-ass conspiracy theorist. So continue. Look what she was, y'all. For those that doubt her.
She was mayor of Richwood, Louisiana in 1975, and 1976. And then again from 1980 to 1984, and is the author of the self-published book Return of the Ancient Ones in 1993. Galston asserted that the United Nations registers the Ouachita as indigenous people, number 215.
She went to the United Nations, bro. She made this official. She wrote a book about it, put all the court cases in there and everything, all the information. She was mayor in Louisiana twice. I mean, who do y'all want to listen to?
Yeah, she's official.
A nigga with a purple skirt on the corner that said, listen to me with a microphone? Right. I mean, come on, y'all. We got real history right here in America. Like how MOI was saying, motherfuckers want to look over there all the time. We got real history right here in America. And even the prophet, peace and blessings upon him, no disrespect, even he's talking about Canaan and Africa and all that. I ain't hear one time him say, my cousin and them is the empress, y'all. I read that whole Circle 7. I never read that either.
Right. Now,
you feel me? So I don't know why this is brushed under the rug. I don't know why, but I know for all the women out there, this is real.
This is very real. So when we talk about the last queen of America, she can very easily hold that place. We're not even halfway through the PowerPoint, but she's official tissue. And with that said, I know you mentioned MOI. I think that's a great segue. Let's check out a clip of her descendants who did an interview that I set up. I told her to go speak with MOI, and this is what she had to say. Shall we, gentlemen?
Yes, sir. Please.
Yes, sir.
TV. Today we're going to just hop right into the show. We have a very, very special guest on today's show, and I'm honored actually to even be able to speak to this young lady on today. A lot of knowledge. Sister Belle is the matriarch. That's right, family, matriarch. And she's going to speak to us a little bit about the Ouachita, some pre-colonial deeds and writs of entitlement to land. Of course, we're going to talk about the vast estate. We're going to bring up the Honorable Noble Drew Ali, the Turner family in the Carolinas. So that means we got to talk about the Ottawa tribe. Nat Turner was a chief of the Ottawa tribe. So we're talking about indigenous inheritance, just rights, man, just right knowledge. And again, Sister Belle is just steeped in knowledge and just such a resource for our mystic stories of how we told from mouth to ear. What better way to do that than to get it right from the source? So I'm honored. It's definitely my pleasure to welcome Sister Belle to the MOI podcast.
Well, thank you. And again, it's an honor for me to have this opportunity, and I appreciate you.
Absolutely. All gratitude. So, Sister, we just gonna dive right in it, because I know you and I was building a little bit before we kicked off the show about some great information as it pertains to some inheritance of the vast estate. Could you speak on that a little bit about what does that mean? The inheritance of the what vast estate are we talking about?
Okay, and now, which that may be a good place to start. There's so much more to the Ouachita than what has been told, or what is being spread. And I have sat by idly and quiet, in some cases up under forced silence. But you can listen for so long, and then you know that it's time to stop it, because it's just going in all different directions, and we're missing the big picture. We're straining at a gnat and swallowing a whole camel. I'm going to ask you something, and then we'll get into the vast estate, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Your ancestors left you something, okay? You know that it's yours.
Okay.
And then you see someone come in and infringe upon it. Take it. Oh no, we're back to, I guess, that story told about Jacob and Esau. How is it that we are given a beautiful gift, and it seems as if we do not know what to do with it? And it's really not for no one group of people. That's where everything is wrong. It's for the people. It's for the ancient people. And it's for the ancient people's generations. But it will never get to the ancient people and their generations in the direction that we're going right now. I don't believe that Noble Drew Ali, being a Ouachita and being a relative of mine, very close relative, I just don't believe that he would have given the family inheritance away to another group of people.
I participated in the Moorish Science Temple of America movement around 2017, 2018, I believe it was. And I'm a founding member of Temple number 14 out of Virginia Beach, Virginia. And when I got into the Moorish science, Noble Drew Ali was propagated as a prophet, unlike to Moses or any of the great prophets of the Old Testament. That's how Noble Drew Ali was propagated to us. And Noble Drew Ali left all of us Moors, the faithful Moors, the vast estate, some type of great inheritance to where we can lay for meaning Moors of a Moorish mindset, that we can proclaim this territory known as North America, aka Turtle Island, or Al Morocco, Al Maghrib. We had a claim to this land, and that's my understanding what Noble Drew Ali left behind for us. Is there something different that we should know?
The Ouachita are Moors, Mours. The Moors, Moors, that you're talking about are not even from this continent.
Oh,
I got a problem with that. Their inhabitants, is that Maghreb, Iberian Peninsula?
Al Maghrib.
Yeah, Sicily and Malta. That's
Yes,
where they
ma'am.
were during the Middle Ages. But I'm talking about the Ouachita, the first people who came over from the continent of Mu, the oldest people on earth. This is how the United Nations is able to bestow upon the Ouachita de Demonia as the oldest indigenous people on earth. See, you can't establish this over here if you don't have facts behind it. The other proof is Poverty Point, right there in Northeast Louisiana, my little hometown.
I know that some parts of Louisiana and Mississippi were considered to be great deltas of the mound builders. So could you speak to us about Poverty Point?
Yeah, but that's where you are, right there in the Delta. And that's Poverty Point. These people, well, if you go there right now, a beautiful place, on a tour, they will tell you they do not know about the people of Poverty Point. We know nothing much about them. You know, they just showed up all of these thousands and thousands and thousands years ago, and we just do not know what happened to them. But you do, because they're still there in Monroe, Louisiana. Their descendants are there. This is part of you not knowing your nation. And if you don't know your nation, you tend to make faulty decisions concerning it. If you don't know that you have a nation, you can be told anything. And this is what others have taken advantage of. They waited until Bertie C. Goldston and myself and Nathan Jones reclamated it, did all the research all those years, and then you come forth as saying it's yours. How come you didn't get a United Nations number? Why did you have to wait to operate up under what the three of us did? And they were one of the reasons why I more or less pushed back from Bertie C. during that time, is when they came around and started expounding upon documents. I knew something was wrong then.
What relation are these ancient Moors? Are they in relation to the people of the Arawak or raccoon people?
Yeah.
That's what the word Wichita comes from, the raccoon people.
How can Poverty Point be designated as the oldest archaeological site in the northern hemisphere of the world? Because it is the place where the oldest people are. And again, we're talking about Ouachita.
Could you speak to me about the Yamasee or the Yamansi?
Okay.
Are they any relation to the Ouachita?
Yes. And let me tell you something. Coming from the continent of Mu, and I wish you would pull that up.
Please.
You know, I was trying to pull up some things myself to say, you really need to pull up Mu while I'm saying this.
Yes, ma'am. We're going to deal with it.
You see Mu right there on the left. And look what the little dotted lines they got up under that Negroid migration pattern. In other words, we left Mu and marched all together now directly over into what? Africa. Okay, I find something wrong with that. Because where I'm from, me being Ouachita, where I'm from, in little old Northeast Louisiana, the world has said, you all are older than Africa. Come on, let's put these facts in line here. How are we older than Africa? When your false map here is showing you marched directly across and you went across South America and you ended up in Africa. You're lying. You're lying. Because the oldest archaeological site is up there in northeast Louisiana. And these are the people that came from Mu. The Empress sent her family. Now, get a hold on that right there. A lot of them went south and went over east. Now you have South America. That's the Mayans. That's the Aztecs. That's Olmecs. That's all of that. But you can't get around this little place that's older than Africa. Egypt is in Africa. In other words, before Ramses became a fetus in his mother's womb, Ouachitas were over in Poverty Point, and I like to think sitting out in the yard barbecuing.
I'm so glad that Sister Bell brought this point up because I subscribe to the fact that we're not from Africa. And people argue that we are from Africa. That's just genetically we're all from Earth. So you don't have to give praise to one patch of land, pile of dirt called Africa. Africa came up out the water. Everything came up out the water. That's why there's more water than land, because this is a water planet and the land came up out the water. Nothing but here was water. So you have to deal with places like Atlantis and Lemuria and Mu. You have to deal with these ancient places. But see, these ancient places being mentioned, they take Caucasian people off the radar. Caucasians don't like to talk about that time period because they didn't exist back then. Nowhere on the planet. They don't come into existence until you get to what's called the Paleolithic period. We've built kingdoms and kingdoms on top of kingdoms by then. So Mu is so older that you don't hear it mentioned in classical history. It's not mentioned.
Crumbtv.
So the island of Mu is the big elephant in the room, because it's like, do you believe that? Do you not believe that? Who's Mu? Then you get to the word Moor. Then you get to the heifer and Egyptian mythology with the Mu. Then you get the oh my God, the cow.
Well, I just wanted to see if Dr. Inky had anything to say before we move on.
His mic off.
Yeah, you
look,
unmute that good.
There's a character called Queen.
Yeah, I got it. I'm in student mode. I'm just listening.
Okay.
There's a character in the esoteric studies you hear about mentioned in a couple different cultures. Queen Mu. I know you up on that, Crumb.
Right.
So Queen Mu. This is what this is really about. Queen Mu is who they're hiding here. Queen Mu, for everybody, is not a person per se. It's just like a king, like it's a position. Maybe there was an original Queen Mu, but since then, millions of years later or thousands of years later, it's a position. It's the queen of, like we saying, America.
Okay. Well, let's shift gears just a little bit. The Bourbon Street King, or the Bourbon King, Henry the Fourth.
Well, no, hold on. We got to introduce this. So this is important because this is the difference between the matriarchy and the patriarchy. You get where I'm going with this, Crumb? So they had to claim their land back by their patriarchal descent on the French side.
Right.
This goes to what I'm going through. So my last name coming straight from Europe, I use that to show them dudes don't hit me with that crap. But at the same time, I'm not dumb. I mean, my grandfather's only 25% of my blood. It's just my nationality because that's my name. So I say that to say they're going by they own this land two ways. You get where I'm trying to go? They, as women of the original tribe, this is their land. But even if America refuses to recognize that and says, after Ouachita, we never heard of you, who are you? They still control the land because their family were the Spanish and were the French. And this is the part I'm trying to get everyone to understand. Like they had the French and Indian wars. The French, the Spanish, and the so-called Indian, that's all us. That's just us coming from different directions.
Absolutely.
French is us coming from Gaul, New French. That's why the Hades. That's why if you're from Chicago, you listen to this part. A brother that looked like me built Charles City named Dusable. This been going on in the so-called slavery times. So these French and Spanish speaking people Or here's the smoking gun, dun dun dun, Creole. That means just so this is where the Creole thing begins. This is why the lawsuit y'all looking for, if y'all want to look it up, is the ears of Henry Turner versus United States. This is where the name Henry came from. This is why Tunica Turner being his last name was so important. Why Henry being his first name was so important. Because it ain't like now where you just have sex and say, I like this name. I'm gonna name my baby Molly or Percocet. You names had meaning back then. Let's get it. The beginning of the Creole culture. Because growing up, I thought bourbon was a street in New Orleans. I thought bourbon was a type of drink. It is. And it also goes back to a dynasty of people that we forgot we came from.
So Henry the Fourth, otherwise known as epithets like Good King Henry or Henry the Great, was the king of Navarre as Henry III from 1572 and king of France from 1589 to 1610. He was the first monarch of France from the House of Bourbon, a cadet branch of the Capian dynasty. He was assassinated in 1610 by Francisco somebody, a Catholic zealot, and was succeeded by his son, Louis XIII.
So you see how many different kingdoms they would have under their belt? So it's not far-fetched what we're saying. We're saying, oh, we were the world, we had this land. That all that stuff we're saying is literal. And these people were royal not because they dressed nice or because they killed the most people. They were descendants of Egyptians. These are the Gaul. These are the Gullah. These are the Gala. These are the Moor. These are the Mu. So when you see the brother here, don't be fooled. Just because someone's light don't mean that they're not one of ours. And just because they made the picture light in the middle of the Renaissance, this is why I want everybody to wake up. Stop thinking Jesus is the only one they remixed. They remixed a lot of people. They remixed King James. They remixed the beginning of the Habsburg dynasty. Y'all need to look that up. Habsburg dynasty. We had a lot of land over here under the Habsburg dynasty. The man who started that was Rollo. There's a man named Saladin. He went to Jerusalem and actually put land in our name. So if we get off this whole you got to be darker than me thing, we can learn a whole lot. Because Crumb, you freeing the people right now. What if they rewrite your story and say he was, I don't know, Lebanon or some bullshit? That's why it's good you get them dreads.
Right. But yeah, I totally get it, unfortunately. But the Moorish secret. I know we're definitely switching gears here. What say you, brother?
Okay, so we're not switching gears too much. What I want to show is, because it's about the feminine. So I'm showing that the things that we talk about, this our land, and so great that you see, we just went to Cleopatra Selene to get to the Little Caesar story, Cleopatra, to get to the Gullah Geechee, Queen Quet, to get to the Ouachita, Empress Verdiesi. So the point is, what does happen when you talk about what you get what I'm trying to say here? What from what the Moors teach us and about the claim and the state, what would happen if someone has anybody ever used Article 6 to appeal to the Sultan of Morocco to get free of slavery? Has it ever happened? I don't hear about it. But I did hear about this man, and he actually did it, and he was not a Moor. So this is a great example of how Moorish science shoots itself in the foot when you leave the woman out, when you leave the queen out, when you leave the divine feminine out.
Abdul Rahman Ibrahim ibn Sori, according to the Library of Congress, 40 years of enslavement.
40 years. Woo! Not 12 years a slave, 40 years a slave.
Yeah, that's tough.
This nigga Moses.
Right, 40 years in the desert. 40 years a slave. Yeah. But
Lord.
Decades earlier, a shipwreck had left a British surgeon named John Cox.
Hey, it did switch on the screen. on my screen.
Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Yep, I got another PowerPoint I'm looking at. Please forgive me. We were ready to move to the
So my
next
bad.
slide.
Let me set this up though, because I hop right in it with the thing.
Okay.
He was a slave in America, y'all. Even though his name was Abdul Rahman Ibrahim Ibn Sori, he was a slave in America. So
Sorry.
this is where the story starts off. He's at 40 years of enslavement.
Okay. So, decades earlier, a shipwreck had left a British surgeon named John Cox marooned on the West African shore. He only survived because he was rescued by a group of
Fulanis.
Fulanis who brought him to Timbo. There, he met Sori and his royal family, who offered him medical care and friendship over a 6-month stay.
So for all you Muslim haters out there who say, the Arab, this and that, this man was a Fulani. But his name was Abdul Rahman Ibrahim Ibn Sori. So from my understanding, what I studied, I wasn't there, but in the Fulani tribe, it was like them and anyone who prescribed to Islam living side by side. And because the Islam was so powerful as far as politically and academic wise in West Africa, most of their names and their trade and all that was done like in Arabic or based on the Quran, things like that. But he was Fulani though. He was not, I don't even think he was Muslim.
Wow. Cox?
And my bad, another point is he was from a rich family that this white dude landed over there and they took care of him 6 months. It was not no everybody hating each other, everybody grabs each other and F's each other over and slices the throat.
Yeah, he was good. He was good people.
Him and his family.
Indeed. Cox would spend the rest of his life trying to purchase his one-time host liberty. While his efforts were ultimately fruitless, they did get Sori another form of currency, local celebrity. Word of the fantastical story of chance meetings on either side of the Atlantic spread quickly around town, and when Andrew Somebody, a local newspaperman, heard about it, his interest was piqued. After this dude found out Sori spoke Arabic, he leapt to conclusion that Sori was Moroccan.
Now I want to show y'all something. This is a very huge point. He didn't look different. He didn't, Al-Kufi didn't pop up on his head out of nowhere because he spoke some Arabic. He didn't all of a sudden start reading the Quran. He didn't all of a sudden say, Salama, I'm Moorish. So this proves what Noble Drali is saying, that someone that looks exactly like me or you, just knowing that they're from this place as opposed to this place, is giving them that Moroccan nationality, gave him a whole other status in America. Where's Bond?
And probably also understanding American racial hierarchy that placed Moors well above West Africans, Sori chose not to correct him. It would be the first of many strategic evasions Sori would make in the years to come. Sori asked the dude to help him get a letter to Africa, and the dude agreed. Sori took several years, but eventually produced what was likely copied Quranic verses.
Several years to copy a couple verses of the Quran. This was not a Muslim, I don't think.
Right. Yeah, this dude is not the real deal. So the dude used them to authenticate Sori's Moorish origins and attached his own letter expressing Sori's desire to join his relatives in Morocco. Wow, thank you, dude. You looking out. Which he sent to the United Council of Tangier, Morocco.
Yeah, so the point is I'm making here is, how can you talk to me like for those who push the whole concept of the Sultan in Article 6, that doesn't have nothing to do with the vast estate. That's Africa. You know, Abdul Rahman, when he appealed to the Moroccan council, to the who was it? I'm saying he got sent back to Morocco. That was used to return you back to Africa. And if you look at what Marcus Garvey was pushing, I think there's a misunderstanding 100 years later what was going on then. I think maybe he was sending the Africans back to Africa, and the other ones saying, get back to your tribe. Everybody go back where you go. Because if you use Article 6 to appeal to the Sultan of Morocco, which I want all my brothers to understand, what you see now is not that they were lying, it's that the Ottoman Empire has failed, brothers. So don't think, oh, that shit ain't true. We were way more in power then. You just can't believe that because you believe in the slavery story, which is true only for Northeast America. See, this gonna clear everything up here. The empress here is not the empress of the east of Louisiana. Maybe certain parts, but we're dealing with the Mississippian culture. These are real lands, real places, real areas and regions. You feel what I'm saying? So when just giving you the name Moor, just giving you the vast estate, that's cool. But what's the name? What's the place? Who is it? And this is where you erase the woman. I haven't found anything linking to anything without the woman. As a matter of fact, for all my religious heads in here, did y'all know in Islam, Muhammad, peace and blessings upon him, had to cash out to get Bilal. This is where he first got the prayer call and all that from, right? But where did Bilal get it from? His mother was an Abyssinian princess. So Mansa Musa, who we love so much, he doesn't claim blood descent from Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings upon him. He doesn't say that he's a Sharif. They claim that they're descent from Bilal. And they claim to be royal, not because remember, Bilal was enslaved, but his mother was an Abyssinian princess. This is where they get their royal blood from. This is why they can use the word Musa. They're from that real Musa bloodline, the 18th dynasty of Egypt. So, in the 18th dynasty of Egypt, the bloodline they love so much, Amos, came from Pharaoh Amos' mother. His father was that Chinese dude we showed, remember? From that Gullah Moors episode. So the women, trust me, the women, even Queen Charlotte, right? The black blood that's in her that everybody comes from Alfonso, who actually was a Spanish dude who was forcing when the Spanish went down to the Moorish area, they would force them to give them their daughters, force them to give them women because they needed that bloodline. Where's fine.
Right. So a lot of Moors will say, you know, if we use Article 6 right to the Sultan, we can get out of jail free card type of thing, so to speak.
Well, that may have been true then. The Sultan has been, you know, the Ottoman Empire is not there no more.
Right. I mean, and we know it's not a thing. It's just this is where the misunderstanding. This is the official tissue of what really happened, but what we're saying now is a misinterpretation, and this is the correct, all-wise, and exactly. Yeah. So it says, word of Sori's predicament eventually got to the Sultan of Morocco, and from there, the news of a captive royal wound its way to the United States government. Worried about diplomatic relations, Secretary of State Henry Clay arranged for Sori's release on February 22nd, 1828.
Come on.
Ooh, you know, because I do know some, you know, this is all within respect. I'm not saying anything negative. I do know Moors who would greet each other. Peace, Royal. What up, Royal? Yeah, what up, Royal? We Royals.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm not saying that these are the people using the get out of free jail ideology. Not saying that. Just saying that it's just interesting to see the.
Well,
here,
let me say this. There was a lot of people that the movement, the Moorish movement, the Ouachita movement was strong in the 90s and maybe up to the early 2000s. See, a lot of people in the conscious movement, a lot of these guys are failures in other spaces. So they come into consciousness seeking attention only. So at the time when it looked like if they get into the Ouachita movement or the Moorish movement or the mound builder movement, let me say that, because the mound builder movement was another movement created to encapsulate the Kemetics, the Moors, the Moors, all together. But when nothing came to fruition, like people getting money or whatever out of it, it kind of devolved into, craziness. I was one of the people that was representing, you know, silently but hard, because I had my Moorish plates on my Range Rover. A lot of people remember I had the black Range Rover with the peanut butter interior. And I had my Moorish plates on my car. I drove my car for 4 years. I had to defend my plates quite a bit, but I never, you know, I never really had any problems because I understood, you know, all of the dynamics of the law and contracting. So there's still some things that folks can do, but a lot of it got, you know, a lot of it got twisted with people seeking attention. And then you had a lot of the con artist people come in, and they started to mix the nationality paradigm with the sovereign citizen movement and all of that UCC paperwork. And, you know, I was one of the first people to be outspoken. Like, that's why a lot of places, a lot of these guys, they blackball me from their channel, because for me, the truth is more important than a few dollars. So I was the first person to start saying, like, yo, this person is a fraud. That paperwork shit is a scam. There ain't no free house and all this other crazy shit. And that's fake. You want to be with the sovereign citizen movement, be careful, because you're going to be looked at as a terrorist. And nobody listened. And what happened a few years later, they passed some laws where anybody trying to quote unquote stand on their square in a certain type of way in court will be looked at as a paperwork terrorist and all of these kind of things, because you had a few people trying to scam and mix the nationality movement and, you know, people trying to, because here's the basics. Debt goes with nationality. Money, inheritance, goes with genetics. So this is why you have to establish yourself in a bloodline, no matter how flimsy the establishment is. But you got to establish yourself in a bloodline in order to be considered a royal or to have any land passed down to you. So this is why, even though there's a lot of violence in history, you see forced rape, you see, forced marriages and things like that, because in order for some families that want to come into power, they have to come into power via the blood. And it all goes back to divine right. And this is why I just deal straight with God and reestablishing the soul and the spirit and those kind of practices, because we got to realize one real authority that's here. It's one real authority. Everything else is play.
I was going to say, going forward, gentlemen, we'll say grape, just some try to avoid the algorithm certain words. But yeah, I think, you know, there was at one point there was a great segue, but I'm still going to take it. Foster agreed to Sori's release with compensation under one condition.
Wait. So you mean he had to get paid to let him go?
They said, for your 40 years here, because you weren't supposed to be a slave, you know, we'll pay you some money.
They gave Sori some money. Okay.
They gave Sori money.
No, I thought that was the devil saying he wanted some money. Okay. Yeah.
Oh. Under one condition, that he be transported directly. Anybody know? Listen, go to jail. Well, don't pass go. Don't collect $200. They said go directly back to Africa, Negro. Without ever enjoying the privileges of a free man within United States.
You see, that parts of quotations. He really said that shit.
Right. That's a quote, and that was what Inky a little bit earlier. I was going to try to jump in, but I wanted to, give him the respect of finishing his thought. Is that you ever come back here, we consider you a paper terrorist. I remember when that term came out. I remember the day, like a lot of people was calling, texting, whatever. Yo, paper terrorist. Like, yo, that joint was kind of crazy, but I digress. But I
want to tell y'all this too, though. Go back. We're going to end the story there because we talk about the last queen of America, but that story continues because after he gets told to go directly back to Africa, he starts appealing to try to get his family. because he was here for 40 years, so he had children and all that. And that I say that point to prove to people that don't always think the story is so simple. There was a lot of free of us, a lot of royal of us, a lot of us that won wars and all that, but didn't want to leave their families. If the devil kidnaps your kid and you beat him in the conflict, you might go back to get your son. You might lose that second time. They might ambush you or something. But we've always been. We just now got to hate each other.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? We love the hell out of each other.
Islam has no beginning.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
So, for y'all that's looking, I put that image together. So let me explain it, y'all, because even he's looking like, what the hell is? Break it down. So, right here, you have what's called Queen Califia. And for those who are well versed in etymology, they should have caught on right away that was a fake name. But for those that aren't, let me break this down for you. There's no such thing as a Califia. There's a Khalifa, and the Khalifa in the Islamic culture has always been considered to be a man. It would be a capital sin to say a woman was a Khalifa. Oh no. But however, if you go back to Africa and you stop looking at religion as culture and look at culture as culture and religion as what it is, you'll realize that Khalifa is an Arabic name, a word. It's not a Muslim word. It doesn't belong to the religion. It's an Arabic word. Okay? And it represents the leader of the situation. Okay? Now, you may see the Quran represents it represents authority. So in the Quran, it says the Khalifa is the representative of Allah. But the point is that the word Khalifa was also applied to other women in Africa because of their leadership position. You know what I mean? She wasn't the only one. However, she's the big Moorish secret mystery that we're talking about here. When Abdul Rahman appealed to the Sultan, he didn't send him west of the Mississippi River and say, go hang with the Moors. Right? He didn't send him to a special, club down in New Orleans to hang with the special Moors of America. He went back to Africa. So that group, like the woman said in the video you showed, when she said, I don't know why he would try to give our estate to another group of people. So up there in the story of Queen Califia, she's a Muslim queen.
Right.
And she leads a bunch of black people. And she's a Khalifa. Hold on. Go back. We're going to take our time with this. Hold on. She's a Khalifa. Now, me and Crumb had a conversation. I said, ain't no Queen Califia. He checked me. He said, no, you going too far. Who you think you is, nigga? You going to erase the great out of history too? He said, Queen Califia must represent a caliphate, a woman leader of a caliphate. I said, no. Let's go further. It's Latin. So the E on the end means a land. So it means the caliph's land. The point I'm making to y'all is the same way you see in the Bible, people have certain names that represent things. Her name represents a caliphate. Her name is not Califia, for all of those that got it wrong. Her name is not California. She's not the Queen of California. She is a representation of a black woman who was the leader of this caliphate over here in the West. It's always been an empress since time immemorial. The reason you see a griffin up there is according to the legend of Queen Califia, the Queen of California. California, let me say that for y'all that's listening so y'all remember and write it down, take your notes. In her story, she's riding a griffin. In some people's story, they ride a horse because it's real life. People used to ride horses. The Queen Candaces rode elephants, right? Shout out to the Queen Candaces. So y'all ain't know, we naming a lot of queens for y'all. Y'all better go look this shit up. And for all y'all that keep saying Queen Sheba, her name ain't Sheba. Her name is Makeda. She's the Queen of Sheba. See, calling her Sheba is the same thing as calling her Califia. She's the queen of the caliphate. And that griffin, I don't think that there was griffins running around in the 1500s with the Spanish people who wrote this story. I don't know if there was griffins running around ever in history. A griffin, for those that don't know, is an animal that's supposed to be, what is it, bro? A half bird, half lion?
Right, yeah.
With like a human head or something. So the point is, this story is a symbol. And for those that don't know, I don't know how deep y'all get into the esoteric symbolism. A griffin symbolizes the Tartarian Empire. The griffin is the symbol of the Tartarian Empire. This is supposed to be a made-up empire. Supposedly, there's an empire that the people say conspiracy theorists only believe in. But the conspiracy theorists claim that once upon a time, taller people, what we call giants, were like the women that she ruled over, Amazons. That's right, y'all, Amazons, big old women. Once upon a time, big people ruled all around the earth. There were bigger buildings. This is a Tartarian theory. And supposedly, according to the Tartarian theory, there was a Tartarian empire that ruled the world in peace for 1,000 years. Well, guess what? The word Islam means peace. And Islam did have a golden age for 1,000 years. It's called the Dark Ages of Europe. Okay? That was the golden ages of Islam. Okay? So, the point of this picture is to show that Queen Califia, we're not supposed to go find a statue and say, here she go. She's a symbol, the same way the griffin in her story is a symbol. Islam has no beginning and no ending. That's the symbol here. We go back all the way to the matriarchy.
So, Califia or Califia is a fictional queen of island of California, first introduced by 16th century poet Garcia Rodriguez somebody in his epic novel of chivalry called something, The Adventures of somebody.
Esplandian.
Written around 1510, the Californias, a region of North America encompassing the U.S. state of California and the Mexican state of Baja. Now,
Baja, California. I think Baja Sur after that. But yeah.
If I could just
let me say this, yeah, the ladies, y'all better hold it down with this video here. Put me on real quick for a second. Put me on the big screen. Listen, ladies, I haven't been teaching that much. You know, Crip Jesus been teaching, so I've been kind of just looking at the pure, I ain't even gonna say it, the pure madness that's going on in the chat room. So clearly there's a, you know, not only are the, you know, nobody the brothers must not like us talking about this. I just say it like that. The brothers seem to be uncomfortable with this conversation. Okay,
we're going
brothers,
harder.
We're not saying that the brothers didn't have rulership around the world. We're just acknowledging that the sisters did as well. Sisters was out there busting their gun. You know, they were great soldiers and warriors. They were great scholars. You know, all the way up to recent times. One of my heroes that anybody that been following me for any amount of time know, I hold two of them in great high esteem, like my own personal Jackin and Boaz. Francis Cress Welsing, for which he did to William Shockley, right? Francis Cress Welsing, and then Mona Harrison for her pioneering work that she did on water that, you know, niggas just let these other folks get away with running off. Mona Harrison was way advanced in the water science before her mysterious death. And then all of a sudden you get Masaru Emoto and all of those people came after Mona Harrison. So none of that exists. You know, Enki is the god of water. I gotta make sure that we keep this thing in the right perspective.
Hold on. I'm sorry. Just give me just a second to digest, because I've referenced Dr. Emoto like from the time I seen Matrix. Like once I saw Hidden Colors, I'm starting to decode things, and Dr. Emoto, he came after the drop a bomb.
He ain't the guy. He ain't come up with none of the shit that's in that book about the shapes and the geometry and none of that. That's why I always stand like a vanguard for our folks, because these people respectfully aren't doing anything but decoding what we already left there. And then the same thing that's happening to our people on a large scale happens to me in the conscious community. I will do the firsthand research. I will make the discovery, and then somebody with a larger platform will remix my shit in front of a larger audience. So what happens is the larger audience hears that person, and then they go, oh, by the time they work around to you, they go, oh, you got that from such and such. Like, no. Masaru Emoto got all that from Mona Harrison. She's the first pioneer to
Mona?
start talking about how the brain quickens, how there are different patterns of learning, how the light in the eye is transferring bits of information faster than she was heavy with the water. She was somewhere else with that shit. And then mysterious death vanished, and then we don't have nobody to keep it going. Just like the Empress of the Ouachita, while she was here, it was strong.
Yeah, it was
unbelievable.
Nobody keeps it going. You know what
Exactly.
I'm saying? They forget the sisters. But I got 7 daughters, so I can't, I gotta, ride for the sisters.
And I want to say this too. Put me up there, Crumb. Let me holler at these dudes that's going crazy in the chat.
Give me just 1 second.
Yeah.
I just want to meditate on that because we talking about the last queens of America, and this is Black History Month. I just want to put a spot.
History. Y'all lacking in history.
Yeah. Very much so. Very unfortunately, it's sad but true. So now when we dealing with Mona Harrison, didn't Disney make a movie about that daggone Hawaiian girl that had that special relationship with the water? Hold on. Drop a bomb. You want to talk about a queen?
In that movie, remember the magic was in their skin, so it goes even further.
I'm out of here.
Yeah. It's like
it's that deep.
Yeah.
You can't make this ish up.
Man, for that one dude though, man, brother, I can go more queens. The cold part is the matriarchy for our people goes back long to the Queen of Sheba, you feel what I'm saying, Makeda and the Candaces and all that. So dude's gonna have to get over that because you're not gonna find these bloodlines and these histories without going through the woman. You're gonna stay in this circle.
Right. Let's move on. Is that okay?
Oh yes, please. So about the greatness of this sister right here that a lot of brothers probably gonna get mad about. Get more mad, y'all.
In the novel,
sisters out there, we need 500 likes if y'all want to keep this going.
Right. In the novel, Califia is a pagan warrior queen who ruled over a kingdom of Black women living on the island of California, an island off the coast of Asia.
Pause right there. So they're talking about Mu, really. See, they were calling this whole thing the Caliphate. This whole thing is California, technically. That's why I kept the Crip on the front, too. There's a big message about what I represent. This whole thing is California. This whole thing is the Caliphate. You feel me? They're talking about the Western Caliphate. So this is why I know this story is based off of the author's knowledge of ancient wisdom. This was not him walking up saying, write this down. This big old island off the coast of Asia, Mu, it's not there anymore.
Califia is convinced to raise an army of women warriors and sail away from California with a large flock of trained griffins so that she can join a Muslim battle against Christians who are defending Constantinople in the siege.
So Constantinople, it was the capital for the Christians. So here's the thing about it. In this story, according to how Islam is explained to us, the regular religious way, how the hell would she be Muslim? Way in California. And how would she be a Khalifa if you got to have your head wrapped and be quiet and all that? So this goes to show us the whole new rebranding of Islam we have now has been rebranded and resold to us a whole new way. It's not too far going from what's been done to Christianity.
The name California originally comes from the word Califia, Khalifa, or Caliph, a title of a leader of a Muslim state.
And like we said earlier, the actual Muslim state is the Caliphate. And like I said, in Latin, they made it Califia, the Caliph's land. So California is like basically like that second one that says C-A-L-I-P-H, just C-L-I-F with something on the end for land, the Caliph's land.
The original inhabitants of the land that New Orleans sits on were the Chitimaca, with the Atacapa, Caddo,
Choctaw,
Choctaw,
Homa.
Huma, Natchez, and Tunica, inhabiting other areas throughout what is now Louisiana.
Very important because
I
I
got
can step
history.
outside the books on this one. A lot of us know when it comes to Louisiana, that's where a lot of us melanated people here in North America get a lot of information before Google and all that. That's where we used to get a lot of information about our culture from. That's where we learned about. It was always rumored through. You know, that's where you get to have the talk, the voodoo. You know how we dress, blues, jazz. A lot of our culture was preserved in Louisiana after Louisiana Purchase. And the point here is that it's at the bottom of the Mississippi River, like you showed in your video, poverty point. This was like being at the bottom of the Nile, or top of the Nile River. You feel
Right.
me? This was our Nile River. You know, this is the Nile River. The word Nile actually means great in Greek. And the great river they're talking about was over here originally. Like I said, they took our history and resold it back to us. So the Choctaw,
Well, yeah,
and
see,
Tunica,
a lot of these people, not to cut your wisdom, God, while you're building, but a lot of these tribes, right, were rebranded. And so a lot of my history is caught up in there from my mom's side and my dad's side. But a lot of those tribes were rebranded. So you got some of those tribes are the black folks that they just don't know where their history, because it got all jumbled up and crazy. But then you got Jamaicans, a lot of Jamaicans. I love the Jamaicans. My baby's a Jamaican, but Jamaicans, a lot of them, they don't really know their history. But a lot of the Jamaicans, some of them do though, because a lot of these tribes got rebranded as Maroons. And so even in Haiti now, you still have a few remnants up in the hills. In Jamaica, you have Maroons there. And these are the people that actually led the Haitian Revolution. The Haitian Revolution was actually some of the people from the southern states, led by Boukman and his crew from Jamaica, and they all converged in Haiti because they knew if the world didn't recognize them as one group of people, they knew that they was all, one bloodline. So, you got that Maroon history, which is still kind of, and that's where Andrew Jackson and the Cherry Tree, and it gets crazy.
No, but see, the Maroons, I don't know how I left that out, because the Maroons is the smoking gun, because the Maroons are all of us that were here. I'm not even talking about being indigenous and all that, just were here before US, whether you came with the French, the Spanish, or were here indigenous already. For those of us that were here already, when you get your land took and you run off to another tribe or fight back, like you said, they'll rebrand you as a Maroon and re-steal your story later as you were a slave and you ran away, this, that, and the other. But it's funny that the word Moor is on the front of Maroon, right? And then they renamed the tribes. So for all the women out there, listen up. Cherokee. That's the $5 version. That's the $5 Indian name. It's the Shakur. Even the first dude they kidnapped, they named him from that area. South Carolina was called Cherokee land. And they kidnapped the dude there. They named him Francisco Shakura. They added the on the end. It was already Shakur. I don't know how he got switched to the Cherokee, but the point is we can look at more like this. And the point why I brought that up, we're not lost, is because the original inhabitants of the land, New Orleans, no, go on back. Choctaw, y'all. That is the Ouachita, y'all. That's another rebranding, like the brother just said. They took the Ouachita, rebranded it as the Choctaw.
Yeah, that's my mom's people.
Feel me? I know a few Choctaws, and they all fine as hell. Okay? The real Pocahontas. And the Tunica, Ike Turner. That's why he was slapping hoes and taking numbers and taking names. He's like, hold about that. Get the Hebrew. Tina Turner, but she got it through marriage. Nat Turner. So for all the sisters out there, when you teach your kids, don't teach your kid that Nat Turner was some slave that read the Bible and said, ooh, oh, time to get it cracking, y'all. No. Like MOI said in the last video, he was a leader of a tribe. I think he said Ottawa. And the name is Tunica. And like the brother said earlier, there's a Tunica, Mississippi.
Yeah.
All this is real, y'all. All this can be looked up, y'all. You don't gotta keep believing in aliens in the sky and stuff. This stuff can be
Hey,
researched.
and you know what's crazy? Nat Turner was Nat Turner and some of the people from his tribe actually represent the last documented legal cannibalism that was practiced here in the States. So a lot of people don't understand a large part of the unspoken part of what we know of as slavery. Like, so here's the thing, and here's a human thing, and just indulge me for a few minutes. A lot of what we know of as the slavery story, we got to reevaluate and, clear up, because a lot of this stuff was given to us by the quote unquote captors, by the people who's, the children of the quote unquote slave owners. So it's human nature to admit to something that's lesser guilty, that makes you look less, bad than the whole. So a large part of what was happening with the slaves is that they were being eaten, and that is a part that's left out. And so when they finally were able to, slow Nate down, because Nate was working.
Hey,
Nate was
I want to
working.
say something before I forget it. But
Go
you know about
ahead.
the cannibalism, right?
Mm-hmm.
I learned about that through her. That's all I wanted to say. When I read the Return of the Ancient Ones, she talked about that. That's all I wanted to say.
Crip Jesus kind of is symbolic of that name, Return of the Ancient Ones, because a lot of us, we only familiar with Crip, CRIP, Community Revolution in Progress, but Crip is CRYPT, and that actually, speaks about the Crip of Jesus coming back, the third day resurrection and all that. So that
Why you
Crip
reveal this
Jesus.
to him right here? I wasn't ready to tell him all that, man. You're right. I'm the dead crypt, bringing the dead crypt back to life. I was gonna say that. I was gonna say when he say what your name mean, I was gonna say that next time.
I'll be living in the future. I'm always, my now is the next time. My bad. But
so the point is to all the sisters out there with the last name Turner or Washington, you know what I mean? Check this out. They rebranded the Ouachita, Choctaw sisters I meet that say Choctaw. That last picture you had, that was an example of some Ouachita's. Look at them, y'all. You don't know if they black, Mexican, what they is. This is the source of all.
Right. Yeah, and
They from right in the middle. That's where it all came from.
Right. Mississippi River.
No, go back. Go right there. Let me go back. Let me show that. So you see Arkansas, Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, and there's a lot of states around there. I want y'all to know on the West Coast, it's not like how it is out here on the East Coast, y'all. The states are very small, close to each other. You can drive Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, it ain't nothing. But the Choctaw sitting right there is extremely important. Why I told you run it back. Because that's the bottom of the Mississippi River. And remember, when you're dealing with ancient cultures, you're not dealing with just, we fly, we got the most Gucci over here, so we control shit. You're dealing with land masses for a reason. They're right here controlling the trade. This is where everything comes through. From the Atlantic to over there on the Mexico side, to from the East Coast, the West Coast, to the South, to down the Midwest, down the Mississippi River, coming from Canada. This was the center right here. Poverty point. So all the sisters out there, you are queens, and go visit Poverty Point and all that. Go be queens. And all the brothers out there, stop being mad that we relate to queens. Y'all want to be related to the hoes? They like that because it's easier, but we talk about that later. So this is for all the people that say she's a crackpot. Everything we set up here to an hour and 40 minutes is just blah, blah, blah. This is a receipt of her visit to the UN to give us our UN number official. On Friday, 25th April 2008, 1:15 p.m. to 2:45 p.m. and Indigenous Peoples Contributions to Humanity Past and Present. National Alliance to Save Native Languages, Northern Arapaho Council of Elders. This was she was assisted with. She was at DC 2, 13th floor, conference room 2, UN Plaza, 44th Street. She was with the She clan of the Yamasee Native American Moors. Go look all this stuff up, y'all. If y'all think we putting in extra. These other groups exist too. Unity Ouachita de Damanya, Nation of Naga Moors. Ooh, the Nation of Naga Moors. They know about the lost tribe of the Nagas. I ain't making none of this stuff up.
No, listen, this whole movement, I know a lot of people was upset the other day when I was saying, when I was mentioning Bambaataa because of, you know, all of the stuff going on with him. But Bambaataa was a large part of this movement right here, because this movement started at the National Black Theater. Well, not the movement started there, but the converging of all those groups, National Black Theater. Then they went down to the UN and then came back, and that was what we was doing, you know, for like I said, the movement was strong back in the days. It just dwindled down when folks, you know, couldn't get, you know, FaceTime or, you know, a little, you know, $5 or something out of the deal. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's good that, you know, you guys, you know, because I'm with this, I'm with the show, but I didn't pioneer this show. So it's a good thing that, you know, this was an idea to really bring this back to the forefront of some of people's attention, you know, just what the sisters have done in the movement, the recent movement. Fine.
Oh, let me. Now, to what you said, down there at the bottom, I just hadn't got there yet. So I'm not going to skip. I'm going to keep going. So I was just at the Unity Ouachita. They dug the Mounya, Nation of Naga Moors, Moors. Y'all got to see that, y'all. Y'all need to go look that up. In treaty with the Great Seal National Association of Moorish Affairs, the Moors of the Round Table, the Seminole Intertribal Nation. Y'all need to be on that. There's a lot of Seminoles. There's a lot of brothers and sisters that come from Seminole tribes that's pure Naga. Okay. The original Moab, Kituwa, Cherokee Nation, the Ani Gidulwa Nation, the Yamasee Nation of Moors. Hold on, this go for you, Iki. The Kemetic Zulu Nation of Moors. That's Bambaataa and them, right? The Nasihu clan of Moors and the
Actually, I was there.
Sovereign International Society.
Yeah, actually, I was about to say we were
indigenous,
there with the indigenous sovereign movement.
That's tough money. ISIS stands for Indigenous Sovereign International Society. Woo! Talk black to me.
So the point is, man, that's the receipt for y'all. Y'all can go look all that up.
Factory.
They go to date and time and everything.
Factory. Yeah. Nationals. Question. What?
So we've done a lot of talking, y'all. And I know y'all like to feel good about this Black Power stuff. Y'all probably not going to look none of it up. So we're going to look it up for you. That's right. We are not going to let no woman leave up out of here without knowing this is the truth, top of the truth. Hit them with it, Crump.
You funny. Question. What wars were fought in the interests of the Ouachita?
Yeah, I never heard of a Ouachita war. So they got to, they prove this.
I got you, brother. The so-called Barbary / Tripolitan Wars. Tripolitan Wars of 1803 through 1815. Number two.
Before you scoot ahead, that was the war where Thomas Jefferson refused to pay. A lot of people don't know that the first so-called presidents and slave masters, y'all think they're talking about slave masters and masters. These dudes were paying us money to even be here. Thomas Jefferson and Napoleon got tired of being our peasants and working for us and being ruled over us. Thomas Jefferson refused to pay Yusuf, I forgot to pronounce his last name, Karamanali, but he refused to pay his Moorish master. And this is what kicked off the Barbary Tripolitan Wars. And the reason why that's so important, why I paused you, is Tripoli is the capital of Libya. This is where they went and killed Gaddafi years later. They always hated Libya.
Yeah, I did a video called Moorish Pirates, War, Slaves, and Booty, where I went through the whole history of the debacle that America was in, because it was only Thomas Jefferson, because George Washington was Gucci. But yeah, absolutely.
Well, here's the thing. Let me show you something with those dates. If you look at that date, the date is 1803 to 1815. So one of the things that we got to do, or at least attempt to do, when we start looking at history, is we got to start looking at global history, right?
I knew you were going to say
Because
that.
yeah, because if you look at those dates, that comes at the end of the Haitian Revolution. So it's
Yeah.
really just one thing going on. And the Haitian Revolution, a large part of that was about sugar and how sugar was killing black folks. So diabetes, and we still here fighting that revolution against sugar. Hint,
Come
hint,
on.
wink, wink. Anyway,
Right.
But
And
hey, Icky, look what the next word says is. Check this out to go right with what you said.
the Napoleonic Caribbean Wars of 1804.
That's the Haitian Revolution. Come on, man. They renamed it. They rebranded it to hide it.
well,
Right.
that's them
Yeah.
trying to get revenge, because by 1804, we already cleaned the island. They was regrouping after they had got back some more soldiers, some more ships, and trying to figure out what they was trying to do.
But what
Yeah.
I'm saying is 1804 is in the middle of 1803 and 1815. So like you said,
Yeah,
this is one
absolutely.
conflict.
Yeah,
This is one conflict with all
Yes,
the
sir.
original people on the islands and west of the Mississippi. Proving what she's
All the
saying.
way across. No. Listen, all the way across to Africa. So that's why I'm saying, if you even listen to the Marines today, the Marine song is from the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli. That's what they celebrate when they sing the Marine song. The Marine song was established when they beat the Moorish, when they took down these indigenous groups. That is the significance of the Moorings. The Moorings. That's what they sing from the halls of Montezuma, which is the Americas, to the shores of Tripoli over into Africa. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Um,
And right at the top of the Mississippi River, it was the War of 1812.
the War of 1812 against the British from 1812 to 1815, and the so-called Seminole War of 1817 through 1818. Name the several treaties that were enacted, but the most important for Ouachita. The transcontinental, as known as the Admis-Onis Treaty of 1819, taking control from the Spanish de Bourbon, or of Bourbon. The Floridas, the whole of Louisiana, and the Pacific Northwest, later called Oregon Country. The so-called French and Indian War. This is from 1754 to 1763. Against the British marks a point in history of the empire. Wichita and Doug who
They dug the Manya.
They dug the Manya.
Yeah, so what I'm saying here is it basically shows what Iki's saying if you put it in that perspective, because they're showing different geographical areas all at the same time. So, but I want to put y'all, I want y'all to close your eyes and see something. Prior to 1803, we were west of the Mississippi and down the islands, dancing, having fun, smoking, and loving, and being ruled by our beautiful empresses. That's right, y'all. But y'all can't even imagine no time like that.
Question. Who was the Imperial Empress at the time?
They wasn't ready for that question, Crub. They thought I was going to say empress and leave them dead. They didn't know he was going to name her. They didn't think he was going to name her.
That's right. A. Maria.
Hey, Marie, come on now. Ain't that a
A.
down
Marie.
south name?
Yeah. Question.
The
How long
forgotten
did
Creole culture.
How long did the Imperial Empress reign? Answer. 41 years from 1754 to 1795.
Oh, change the slide. It didn't change on our screen.
Oh my God, I'm sorry. I was on my other slide.
Well, if you think about it, they give us these names back from Aaliyah to A. Marie to Bay Ante. Like, they give us these names back now. We get Diana. You know what I'm saying? Like, we get the names back. It's almost like we're just not doing the homework. But the names is there. They give us the names in R&B.
Like when it was King. We just don't. We are the problem. That's what I'm trying to wake everybody up to see. They're not even doing it right now. It's us doing it right now.
Right. Question. One of her daughters Yeah, one of her daughter's royal line was who?
Wait, did you read how long she ruled?
Yeah, 41 years
Okay.
from
Pardon
17th.
yourself.
I just didn't switch the slide at the time. My apologies. One of her daughter's royal line was who? Answer: Anna Marie.
Mm.
Question: Who was Anna Marie married to? Answer: Marquise of Maison Rouge, Louis
Francis.
Francois
Yep.
Joseph of Bourbon, Prince
on.
of Conti.
A Bourbon prince.
Right, yeah.
So it
Royalty.
belonged to us both ways. That's why they hate
That's-
the Creoles. On her father's side and her mother's side.
Mm.
She Moor and Muir. She both of the Moorish.
Question: From this union came who? Answer: Henry Joseph Turner. Question:
So
When
hold
was-
on, he has the name of King Henry to represent his Bourbon, Joseph, and Turner.
Right. When was Henry Joseph Turner acknowledged by the U.S. Supreme Court as what? Answer: Heir to the Bourbon estate of June 19th, 1848. Question: What is the Bourbon estate? Answer: The Imperial International Estate of the Bourbon Habsburg Empire, which includes Western Europe, the Netherlands, Belgium, Luxembourg, Switzerland, Germany, Italy, Sicily, Naples.
Come on. Your brothers want to talk about Africa all day. Come on, y'all missing out on the largest state out here.
Global.
Africa. Right, yeah. Question: How did Henry Turner receive the international estate? Answer: By way of the Spanish land grant, in accordance with the U.S. Supreme Court decision of June 19th, 1848. Question: Who did Henry Turner Sr. marry? Answer: Sarah. And out of the union came who? Answer: Henry Turner Jr., George Washington Turner, and Eliza Turner.
Eliza Turner is
The
Go
mother of Noble Jew
ahead.
Ali. Question: Eliza Turner was the mother of who? Answer: Prophet Noble Jew Ali Turner Drew. Prophet Noble Timothy Turner Drew Ali, the founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Question: The Imperial A. Marie second daughter is? Answer: Lula. Question: Who was Lula's daughter? Answer: Malia. Malia, excuse me, thank you. Question: Who is Lula married to? Answer: Marquise Louis
Bowling Garrison.
Garrison.
The point here is
Hold on, wait. Am I wrong, or did Obama name his daughter after this lady?
Ooh.
oh wow. I'm just saying this.
Sorry.
We have a line of imperial empresses related to Prophet Noble Drew Ali.
Right.
Somebody's hiding that. I refuse to believe. There's a bunch of. I'm talking to y'all. Y'all hear me? I don't care. It's a bunch of y'all know this and not talking about it. Hating on the divine feminine on purpose. How is he related to a line? I ain't gonna lie. I'm more impressed with the empresses. All praises due to the prophet. But I didn't know. I thought the prophet was here to save us because we didn't have nothing. I didn't think we had a vast estate already.
Before we end it out, just within under a minute, if you could, please, gentlemen, could you tell the family who you are and where we can find you at? Please, Crip Jesus.
Don't even play with me, y'all. Just open your phone, type in CRIP space JESUS. What? Google, Yahoo, SoundCloud, Holy Crip Jesus on Instagram, Crip Jesus Blue God on Twitter. Just tap into the Crip Jesus and stop playing. All platforms.
Dr. Inky, if you would, please.
Crumb. That's it. Crumbtv, man. That's the place to be.
You got the website.
Yep. And if they on Crumbtv, they'll see it.
That's right, family. All right. Well, with that, sorry about that. My apologies, gentlemen. With that said, if I can get it right. With that said, I just want to put some respect in your name, family, for the people who do donate, because it does mean everything. It keeps the platform going. Like, this stuff isn't even free, but I don't even try to be crying nobody no river. I just, do what it takes. But I ain't going to act like I don't got people helping me. And that's what I want to make sure I make a little bit of time for the family that be showing love. Aretha, she said, thank you for your time. Hey, Rue, Duke of the Great Lakes. He says, my Naga. Kashia, I think that's how I spelled her name. She took the $1 challenge. Lexi, she took it a couple of times over. Rainbow Light Warrior, I love that name. Scrooge Greedy, Latina, Psych L, Kick Rocks, the whole family. I really want to say thank you for supporting the platform. It means everything. If you want to take the $1 challenge, you can do it by simply donating $1. You can do more, anything you want to, but that's the bar I try to set it low as possible. So yeah, with that said, family, you don't necessarily have to do that. This is a free platform. We give everything for free. We do this thing at the end. At church they do it in the middle. It's kind of slick, but no, we do this at the end because last but not least. But yeah, you can also support by hitting that like button. It's free, takes a second, works for the algorithm. It humbles my heart. I appreciate all of you. That's your way of giving back. It shows that you appreciate what we're doing. Also, comment, family. Let me know what you think about the last queens of America, the empresses, the goddesses, the Amazonians, so on and so forth. Yeah, that's all right here in the motherland. No pun intended. But yeah, with that said, also subscribe, family, not just here, but on my website, crumbtv.info. That's right, family, crumbtv.info. Family, we're going to do an event. I'm going to put it together. I give you my word. Something's going to go down. You're going to see promotion for something in the very near future. Something's about to happen. I'll let you know when it comes on. But when it does happen, you're going to be able to access it through Crumbtv. It's just email blast. It's, nothing you have to pay for or nothing like that. But with that said, family, I want to leave you the exact same way I came to you. I'm your humble brother, Crumb, and you are now watching Crumbtv. Take us out, Chicago.
Hey, you are now watching Crumbtv.
Crumbtv.
Hey, we in Chicago, y'all, and y'all watching Crumbtv.
It's your brother, Tim Buck 2. I say.
You are now watching Crumbtv.
You in Chi-Town finest. You're in Inglewood, always up to no good.
Man, I'm telling my brother Crumb.
You're watching Crumbtv.
I'm your humble brother, and you are watching Crumbtv. Reporting live from the Wild Hunter Southside Chicago.
And you now watching Crumbtv.
And you're watching Crumbtv.
Crumbtv, baby. Hey.
Crumb.